Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And peace and salutations to the elect out there feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, with sincerity and truth, right? And I'm doing this lesson off of basically just because basically inspired by a couple things I saw, but the brother from GMS Kansas City Prophets, right? His channel GMS KC Kansas City Prophets, right? And the title of his lesson was "Anyone teaching the mark of the beast is sin is not a man of the Lord," and 100% agree with this. Anybody who is teaching the mark of the beast, right, is sin itself, is not a man of the Lord, right? Now, if you take that mark of the beast, you're going to get fucking destroyed, right? But the mark of the beast, that is a RFID microchip, okay? It's a physical, attainable chip, right? And before I get into it, I wanted to bring out, a while back, there was a group of people that I knew, and these people, these people, first of all, they were very they're novices in this truth, right? They're very beginners in this truth, right? And myself, I consider myself still a novice, right? There's men out there who have been doing this truth for a lot longer than I have, right? By no means, I don't really know much, right? But what I do know is that the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip, and it is not sin. And anybody who's teaching that is going off completely. You're honestly, and I'll just say how it is, you're a fucking piece of the shit, right? If you're saying that the mark of the beast is anything else, right? You're a piece of fucking shit. Now, there was this group congregation, I guess you want to call it. Dude, they had hosted different calls and stuff, and people in there actually, some of them actually were calling on the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? There were people in there who actually did know the names, and some of them actually watched GMS channels, right? But then you had other guys that they would just basically there would be other guys calling on the names of Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yah, Jesus Christ. And that shit's fucking bugged out, right? But anyway, these people, they had this call, right? And there was one of the biggest calls that they've had, right? It was a lot of people were listening to these people, and basically there's three speakers, right? Main speakers, right? There's an Israelite guy, and then there's two Edomites, and there's two fucking Edomites speaking, right? And at the time, I thought these guys could have been Jakes, right? So I was just giving them the benefit of the doubt. But basically after this, I realized these guys were not sincere. And these guys were basically, I remember the guy, there must have been 30 people in this group call, right? Around that number. And the guy says, and he said this, and I remember him saying this, and he says that he believes that the mark of the beast is a spiritual mark. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And so I asked this person later down the line, do you really believe that? And he's like, well, I do believe it's spiritual, but I also believe it's physical. And I'll just say this right now, if you're watching, you're a piece of fucking shit, because we know the Lord's going to destroy your ass. First of all, that person, he's an Edomite, so he's done for, right? But, these people, they want to bring you down with them, right? They really want people to take that chip, right? They really want people to take that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. So they will deceive others into taking that chip by any way possible, right? And these people, they're not humble enough to admit they're wrong, right? Because a lot of them, they know that what they're saying is complete foolishness, but they're out here saying that the mark of the beast is sin, or sleeping with the white woman, or not keeping the law. They're saying all these things, and ultimately, these are not men of the Lord, right? Just because somebody's reading the scriptures, reading the Bible, does not make them a men of the Lord by any means, right? The men of the Lord have to speak the 144% truth, and we're gonna bring this out, right? Because we always bring this out. It's Revelation 13:16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, right? And how are you supposed to buy or sell with sin? How are you supposed to buy or sell with the white woman? How are you supposed to buy or sell with Jesus Christ? That doesn't make any sense. The only way it would make sense, right, would that it would have to be a embedded, implantable stamp or device, right? And to back up what I'm saying, right, this is the word for mark, which means charagma, right? Strong's G5480, and it says a stamp or an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. So it clearly shows here in the breakdown in the Strong's that the mark of the beast is a physical mark. This is not a spiritual mark, right? So this person, right, before I actually continue, I'm going to bring out our precept. This is Matthew 5:37. It says, but let your communication be yea, or nay, right? Yea or nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. I'm going to read it again. It says, but let your communication be yea or nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil, right? So this guy, going back to what I was saying, this guy was basically saying, the mark of the beast, right? He believes it's physical, but also believes it's spiritual. And this is what he fucking said. I'm not even fucking playing. This guy, he said that. And that's fucking wickedness, right? That means you're on the fence, and that means you don't know what the fuck you're saying, right? Because how could something be physical and spiritual? This is a 100%, right, physical mark. There's nothing spiritual about the mark of the beast. Everything that this devil Esau Edom does is physical, right? Everything this devil does, it's carnal, right? Yeah, you're gonna be destroyed if you take that mark of the beast, RFID microchip, right? But you have to understand that everything this devil does is carnal, right? And in the breakdowns, it says it's going to be an incision, right? A stamp, right? The mark of the beast, it has nothing to do, right? The mark of the beast has nothing to do with the law, has nothing to do with sleeping with a white woman, has nothing to do with the mark of the beast, right? The actual mark of the beast itself, right? It is not the mark of the beast is not sin, right? Because a lot of people are saying, the act of sin itself is the mark of the beast, right? That and all of that is off, right? All of that is off. Yeah, you're not supposed to take that mark of the beast. Of course, you're not supposed to take that RFID microchip. right? But if everybody who took the mark of the every single person, right, has sinned, right? So you know, that's the thing, right? If everybody has sinned, then everybody would have taken the mark of the beast, right? And that's what the brother brought out, right? So that's the thing. You have to make sure that you're getting the information from the right people, right? And that's through the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, because there's a lot of people they're saying these things with a straight face, right? They're truly saying that the mark of the beast, right? These people, they believe that it's not a chip. They believe that it is something else, and these people are gonna get destroyed for that. They're gonna get fucking destroyed, man, right? You people really are pieces of shits. That's really what you are. And a lot of these people, they actually, some of them even know, right? Some of them actually know deep down inside that the mark of the beast is the RFID microchip, right? But they're so prideful, they don't want to admit that they wouldn't want to admit that they're wrong, right? And so they say they bring other people down to them. I have the book of Proverbs 16:18. It says, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Right? These people are prideful, and they're about to get destroyed for preaching false doctrine. Right? Because you have IUIC breaking down the mark of the beast wrong. Right? ISUPK, WFI. You got these Israelites especially. Because mind you, these people, the people I was speaking about, that was that whole congregation that basically that I knew about, right? These people, they actually believe that these Israelites, they actually believe that the mark of the beast, it actually has is not keeping the law. That's what they believe. Right? And I'm going to say it one more time. The mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. And, those who get it will get it. And those who don't get it, well, you're just going to be fucking destroyed. Right? And, these only Israelites, right? Calling on the false names, right? A lot of them, man, they overcomplicate things to the extent that they're gonna really cause a lot of people to take that chip, including themselves. A lot of those people, they're going to fold when that time of calamity comes, because they've been preaching the wrong doctrine this whole time, and they're false prophets, right? And this is why you should be very thankful that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, he allowed you to have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to where you know what the proper breakdown of this scripture is, right? Revelation 13:16. Because a lot of these people, they don't know the proper breakdowns, right? They don't know the proper breakdown. And the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, they and the rest of the brothers that are preaching this likewise doctrine, right? We're doing nothing but what we're prophesying downfall of Esau, Edom, right? We're prophesying destruction of Babylon, right? Which is spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, right? We're prophesying the destruction of these heathens, right? And we're prophesying just ultimately we're telling people what's going to happen, right? Cannibalism, famines, nuclear missiles, right? Going to destroy Babylon the Great. None of these people, they truly, a lot of these Israelites, they're just going around here dancing, right? Fucking around, They're just going around here just breaking things down incorrectly, and really they're breaking things down with actual women right next to them, right? They literally have women teaching, right? I mean, how completely fucking off could that be, man? Really, it's just so off, bro. Just honestly, and these people, I mean, they just pick and choose what they want to hear, right? We're supposed to eat the whole roll, right? We're supposed to get this entire truth, right? Truth. Slovakia. We're supposed to get this entire truth, right? And that's why parts of this truth is would be considered bitter, right? And that's because there's a lot of these things that are gonna happen that people don't want to happen, right? And the thing is, these Yah only Israelites, they're picking and choosing they're picking and choosing what people want to hear, right? And ultimately, one of those things is the mark of the beast, right? I mean, to these people, everything is about the law, right? And ultimately, it's gotten to a point where they're keeping the laws, right? And they're breaking other things down wrong. They're using the wrong names, right? They're breaking down the mark of the beast incorrectly. They're just completely off. So at that point, you what you really are is just a fucking Pharisee, a false prophet that just keeps the law, right? That's what these people are. And this is the book of Matthew 7, right? Verse 15. And it says, "Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits," right? So these people, ultimately, they might seem like great people, might seem nice, right? On the outside, right? They might have they might smile, they might dress nicely. But ultimately, these people, at the end of the day, they're not sincere. They're really just pieces of shit, right? Especially these, a lot of these people are what you call tares, right? That's why you have the parable of the wheat and the tares. Because they're ultimately, you think they're sincere, but then you realize, this guy's actually a fucking evil piece of shit. And those are tares, right? But the thing is, these people, what I'm trying to get to is anybody preaching that the mark of the beast is not the RFID microchip, right? If they're saying anything else, you cannot trust those people. That's a false prophet, right? And that's the main thing, because really that's what we're that's the one of the most important prophecies, right? Especially when we're teaching, we're supposed to be warning people, and one of the first things, right, you should be telling people, right, if you believe they're sincere, right, if you believe that this person is an Israelite, right, if this person could receive this truth, one of the first things you should be telling them is about that mark of the beast, right? Because that's that hour of temptation that is about to go down, right? I have the book of Revelation 3 and 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." And that's ultimately what is that talking about? It's talking about when Esau, right, comes down with that mark of the beast and starts making it mandatory. That is that hour of temptation, because a lot of people, they're gonna be without food, they're gonna be without proper water, electricity, right? And they're going to ultimately trust in this devil's system and succumb to that succumb to taking that RFID microchip, right? Right. But for the Lord, for the Lord's men, He's going to keep us from that hour of temptation. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai he's going to keep us from that hour of temptation. So I just wanted to make this quick and edifying, but I just wanted to warn people out here. Anybody that is preaching this, anybody who is saying that the mark of the beast is not the RFID microchip, they're a false prophet. That's really what it is. Anybody who is saying that it is sleeping with the white woman, or that the mark of the beast is sin, or the mark of the beast is not keeping the law, right? These people are false prophets, and they are not men of the Lord, right? They're wolves in sheep's clothing. So, with that being said, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect out there feeding the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, with sincerity and truth. Shalom.